drinking and I done got it down. Hello, this is Divine Sunshine for Divine Unisouls 11. This is the Playground Experience. I have my co-host, the lovely Kathy D, and April Williams. Tonight's topic is following sources guidance. So I'm going to turn it over to Kathy D and let her introduce what's going on with tonight's subject.
Well, we picked this subject because right now we're being asked to be vulnerable. We're being asked to open up and to be able to receive. And a lot of times we get lots of signs with this, people just generally trying to help us in a grocery store or do whatever. And we don't take this as signs from the universe, from source, from whatever. And we need to be able to accept these things. And we wanted to talk about some of the things that we see. So many times we talk about when we're given these nudges and what these feelings feel like. And there's definitely a difference between an ego craving for wanting to do something and when you know it's coming from your soul. It's that heart tugging, can't get it off your mind, got to do it. Or for lack of better words, or bust hell wide open, you're going to get it done. You're going to do it. And so there's so many times we get these for little things and for big things. And we've got to learn to recognize these and work through them and understand that, yes, we're being given maybe per se a timeline. And if we don't meet that deadline, it will come back around. But we need to learn to recognize these things so we don't have to do some of the merry-go-round stuff we all have. So I don't know, April, you want to go first and kind of talk about that soul calling, the difference between our ego and our soul and how that feels, because you're really the feely person.
Well, thank you. So the question was about the feelings versus the ego versus the knowing, the actual truest intuition, right?
Right.
There's several layers. There's always layers, and it's relative to where you are.
So if they're just beginning, let's start there. If you're just beginning on this journey.
My stomach hurts. I see someone and my stomach hurts. Or I start to get a headache when I'm doing a specific thing. Your body, it's the easiest thing to listen to. It's right there. Not your mind. I didn't say your mind. I said your body. Mm-hmm. So as soon as you feel that something is switching, make a note and see how you're actually feeling about a situation. And you can set yourself on a path or a flow that is in more harmony with you very simply. Now, I'm not saying if you have severe stomach issues or gastroenteritis or all these things, these are all symptoms that ended up in being something much larger because the body wasn't listened to earlier on. And sometimes there's something as subtle as take this out of your diet or eat this, it makes you feel healthy, your skin glow, and it switches and things change, So I think the beginning part of intuition is knowing yourself, knowing your body. And when you know yourself and your body, you can start to play with other things out externally. Mm-hmm. If you're listening to this, most likely you've been experiencing all kinds of wonderful things, and what might be clouding you is the overactivity in the mind, wanting to classify what you're experiencing versus flowing and knowing what you're doing in this life, on this plane. And it's part of it's learning, part of it's laughing, part of it's having fun, but it's also listening and growing and expanding, because you are, yes, you're you, and you're a very unique, specialized, beautiful flower that the earth created, but you're also part of a mosaic, part of a species, part of a group, and we're here to work together to kind of get to that. So once you finally know yourself, you'll finally know where you flow, and it'll all start to make sense to you. And some of these things are dark and scary and rehearsed and that's why we carry them with us. Oh, you know. But the shadow is as easy as putting in more light and making all parts eliminated. So, look, I got a shadow on my shoulder. So, just believe. We're going into fantasy land. Believe. Your intuition, just know it. You got it. Trust you.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. That's why I was saying it brings on a certain amount of trust. I know a lot of times, sometimes with my mom, and she kind of follows something that's been told to her by spirit. She does a lot of questioning, a lot of doubt. Every now and then, I kind of do doubt things, especially like when I go into areas that I'm not familiarized with, like speaking with people who have passed on. I could do the living. I've done that for people that's even that I know of that have been friends. But a lot of times I start to question what guidance I get from, am I hearing right from this person that has passed on? Am I, am I feeling right? Am I feeling in and putting my own what I feels into it? That's a lot of times when you question and doubt, you have to really get to a point that you really trust what you're actually feeling and just have a sense of knowing. You have to also use, as April says, your body as an instrument, just like a person playing a horn, knowing what notes that you actually play. That gets you to knowing that, okay, this note, that comes from spirit. Okay, I play this note now. That seems like that's come from ego. Ego is speaking from me. Now that don't seem like that coming guidance from spirit right there. So you have to kind of really play around with what kind of resonates with you to know, like, truly, is this guidance that I'm getting that's from source, or is that something that I call more so like wishful thinking in the process? It's very, they keep on saying you got to know yourself, know thyself, true, to be true, that whatever you feel that it is the truth, and that is who that intuition that you have developed has created you to really be able to discern the differences between what is outside ego saying this, or is this spirit saying something. It's very tricky when you're doing, because sometimes it can sound the same, and that's why you have to really learn how to discern between the two.
And how do you learn to discern between the two? I'm going to play angel's advocate over here. What would be your suggestion on learning to discern from the two? I know you have to, learn your body and things, but if there was maybe, say, an exercise or something small that somebody could do, what is it that they could do to work on building that trust with themselves?
That's a very good question.
I would say gratitude.
Okay.
Start with being I do my best, and so more often than not, I wake up grateful. This is a new day. I get to experience this beautiful life. I have this beautiful child. There's so much potential in the world right now. There's so much creativity and change, and there's so many avenues in which to show how I am in love with life. I don't know if I always get that romanticized first thing in the morning, but it would be nice. So just starting off with something simple and being grateful, and then you'll start to see that there's actually more to be grateful for from a place to place. So when you get like a little bit of that, I just want to grit, I just want to be angsty, I just want to complain about something, you start to say, what am I grateful for? What am I enjoying? And if you can, I know you can. So when you choose to step into that space of being consistently grateful, things begin to have more rhyme and reason, and the intuition starts to flow a little bit more organically than we're constantly judging and like that's something feeding off of you. That's not really you, right? Who are you? And you are in a space of lightness and joy. And there may be parts of density when it's hurting or painful or angry or whatever, but we alchemize it, we change it. And so the quicker we can get into that state, the more harmonious we can be with our space and our environment, and energy of people changes. So things start to flow in and out of our space, and we start to attract different types of people and different types of energies, and that's when, you know, conscious manifestation starts to put into play. So does that make sense?
That makes sense, most definitely. Because I think if you're in a place of gratitude, things flow easier, and you're able to see the good in things. Divine Sunshine, what do you say to that?
I
To that
say,
question.
me, it comes more so practice. I keep on picking up, just keep on doing it until you kind of learn the difference. That's the same thing with me with my readings, kind of knowing, the voice. It's a certain feeling. It hits me in a certain spot that lets me know that it's actually spirit. That's not you. Most of the time, if it comes like right up in here, that's ego. That's something else here. But mostly, it's in spot. It hits me like right there,
Can I
right
see
there.
the first two spots? The first one you said was more ego.
Yeah, right here. It doesn't
Okay,
feel.
oh, that's for you. Okay.
Yeah, and when it hits me like shoo right here, put it down. When it hits me like right here, that lets me know that comes from spirit. It's a way I resonate. Say, oh, that's when I say I got a fork in the road. You going the wrong way. You hear me say that a lot of times. I mean, okay, that the pull back. You went left. We wanted you to go right. This is how we want to. Or it'll tell me fork in the road, and you got very multi layers. So, some of the stuff I had already been gifted that I kind of knew the difference between. I go by even what April said, it makes me how it makes me feel. Sometimes I get that tired feels. That lets me know, I don't think that came from spirit, because I don't like the reaction, the result of it. And then if it is, it has more of a blissful feeling too. But to me, I have to kind of just keep on honing it. You'll learn, it'll tell you, you could tell by the reaction of how you feel. So to me, you keep on doing different like techniques to kind of let you know. Somebody was saying like practicing something like with voices or some kind of way that you can kind of be able to know like the frequency and vibration. You can tell which one is what. But for me, it's practice. Practice makes perfect. The more I do it, the more keen I am into knowing. Say, "Ooh, that's from spirit." For me, on that one. Following guidance. So it pretty much, I'm hearing some people that's kind of like beginning. It's like, okay, it's kind of hard to follow guidance when you're seeing things. Let's say I prayed for something, and then I thought I was following God's guidance on something, but then I see it turn out a different way. The results didn't come out the way I thought. God told me to do X, Y, and Z, but then when I followed through, or I thought it was God, then it appeared to be, it came out a whole different way with my divine counterpart. Does that mean I didn't follow? I didn't hear guidance?
Oh.
No, I don't think so. I think maybe there was some ego mixed in there.
Okay.
I think we can have sometimes it can kind of override. And that's where you've got to go back to that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Garth Brooks has that song about unanswered prayers. And so sometimes things don't turn out the way they're supposed to because of everything else going on around the situation that we don't see. So some things have to be put on hold, and some things have to be moved so that ultimate outcome that God's going for happens. Sometimes we have to be redirected. I think it was you with a card reading about the giant in the road. And we have to, sometimes we have to redirect our paths and, to come back to that ultimate thing. So I don't think a lot of times it's not source, but we have to be very mindful of the ego. And with that, remember, source is never going to tell you to do anything to hurt yourself or hurt anyone else. They're not going to tell you to jump off a bridge. They're not, nothing like that. They're never going. And it's usually, and from what I have found, and you ladies let me know, it's in a positive state. It's not usually ever demanded. It's almost like a suggestion, but in a positive way.
Okay. Hey,
It's a beautiful, beautiful connection that divine sunshine, divine unisouls is correct on terms of practice, and you know, like so. I just took a couple of moments to take a deep breath, to cleanse myself and move my body. I trusted that's what I needed to center me, to focus, to communicate with you on how and what it means to begin, and what when you know, you know. And when you're coming into a state of knowing, it it is fully trust, it is fully acceptance, it is fully knowing the self, because when you know the self, you know what is not the self. You do need to have your core foundational beliefs intact so that you have a place to center yourself and root yourself. And this is where we look at acknowledging our ancestors, our history, where we come from. This is how we look at acknowledging our earth and how we get to balance with her because she's the ultimate reason we are even physically existing. So all this beef that we have, all beef, so funny, random, chatter that stops you from thinking you actually know and have intuition, that's the part you're learning to phase out, because that was part of the program and part of the trauma that our ancestors suffered more greatly than we did when they were wanting to center in on their beliefs and their focuses. So a lot of information and trust and knowing was lost. So we're in a state of re-remembering who we are as beings, as energy beings, as spiritual beings, and also integrating that into our physical, which is more of the science, the biological, and all of these things marry. So if you can understand that there is spirit as much as there is the physical, you can harness those within you if you have a core rooted foundation in yourself, and your belief system. And then when you you can use actually logic somewhat too when you're starting to learn your intuition, starting to learn yourself. Like, what are the odds of these series of numbers appearing several times in front of my face? What are the odds that I'm thinking of someone and then I'm hearing something on the radio that sounds almost like it could be them talking to me? So weird, dude. That's so random. That's so random. You know what I mean? No.
But that's the way it works. I mean, really.
No. You really know what you mean.
We really know that.
And we stop putting our societally programmed self-doubt. We turn that voice off. Because I feel almost like that was a little bit of a controlling program. Like, people that are ruling the world in terms of politics and stuff like that, they count on us wanting to glaze over when they're talking about public policies and instating laws and things like this. But when we really look at it, a lot of us are so busy listening to other people for their advice, we don't even want to control our lives. We've allowed media to do it for us, a projected image. And now that we've started to get into like being weird, like really eccentric. We're having fun with it. We're realizing that life is a beautiful thing. We've been crunched to the point of appreciating that delicate balance between being here in the physical form and not being here. So now all of our senses are we're finally tingling. We're finally ready to experience that. It's like this kind of spirituality, the level of spirituality that we're in right now is like straight up the internet. We are like getting stuff as crystalline body structures. I'm gonna like brain dump for these people. Crystalline like body structures and how we work with our DNA and how we're working with all of this electricity around us is really helping magnetize our thoughts into things. Is really helping us foster an extension of ourselves, knowing that others are similar to us, and getting to the point where we can truly show ourselves. There's a set that want to kind of hide from that, like they want to hide from themselves, but it's only in the understanding of the self that you can actually really be of service on this planet. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to all be of service in some shape, way, or form in terms of our being. I mean, look at the structure that we have, our body. We're a bunch of different microorganisms that live on us and in us and with us that help us stay healthy and alive. Just like we're on our earth with all these other species doing the same thing, and we have checks and balances. So if you are feeling like you're overcome with thought, get lost on a tangent and then come back. realize you're exactly in the right place. You're exactly in the right time. Trust yourself again, because it's funnier than you think. The whole thing is just much funnier than you think, and we take ourselves so seriously sometimes. I think that's part of it. Is like playing a game. Like you can play with cards, and you can be like black, red, black, red. Just developing those skills of trust in yourself. And once you start to see that flow, yeah, you could try count cards. It's a waste of time. It's funner just to keep going, keep building, keep playing, keep trusting. That's what it is. We're on the playground. We're all kids. Now, why aren't all the kids fed? Why aren't all the kids have clean water, clothes, and electricity? Why don't all the kids have what they need to just be able to have themselves expand? Our earth is has plenty. Anyway, I think I'm getting off a tangent. I'm about to sing We Are the World again. We are the world. We are the children. Oh, I had a sweet childhood memory. Let me take you there. Just kidding. Okay, anyway, back.
It sounds like the Golden Girls, like Sophia. It was nice, whatever. Let me paint a picture. Back in Sicilia. Da-da-da-da-da. What the? Where are we going with that? You had so many good, pretty much good points that was in there. Kind of pretty much go in with the flow of things, especially like I hear this person say, okay, yeah, that was kind of answering my question, but it kind of didn't, because I just want to know why, if I ask this the counterpart, I prayed for something for the counterpart to do that, or maybe to show up at a certain time, and they promised they were going to, and I prayed for us to have this encounter, and then when we had the encounter, they didn't show up. And Spirit told me to call them to say, for us to have this date time, and it didn't happen. Did that mean that Spirit didn't talk to me? I didn't get the guidance because that person didn't show up for me. So that's why I'm saying about, when does it seem like in some ways, because you prayed on something and it didn't showed up, or you asked for guidance and you followed what you thought was guidance for you to do a certain thing and it didn't show up. Did that mean you didn't hear from Spirit?
No.
Kathy kind of had said, she kind of touched upon it, and I hear this person say, yeah, you answered it, but you didn't answer it. So Kathy D, you pretty much saying in so many words, like, even if it's not an answer, that's really and it didn't happen, it's almost like I seen on Facebook, I can see it now. We're saying it's like a type of denial. Just because it's not a yes today doesn't mean it's not going to be a yes tomorrow. with that. And that doesn't mean that just because what you heard from spirit does not mean directed that you heard wrong or incorrect in doing that. That is still sometimes with spirit, they have you do those certain things because at the end of it, they want you to get to a certain location or a certain spot. So these other things can kind of intersect and to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so that doesn't mean that, oh, well, I did it. And, you know, Spirit told me, let's say Spirit told me to go buy a ticket and play 154. And then I went and I was like, but I didn't win. What happened? I thought Spirit told me to play 154. So my thing is maybe something else might happen. Maybe when you went to go buy your ticket, you bumped into this old friend you hadn't seen in a long time and you developed. Sometimes it happens in a different way. Spirit wanted you to get you to that location to get that blessing, but that doesn't mean that you didn't follow here what Spirit wanted you to do. So it's different kind of ways that it can also evolve as well. So I just hear this person say, I did what they told me, but I got not the result that I had wanted to. And then I was just saying, again, just to understand that sometimes it doesn't show up the way you think that it is, but just because you think it didn't come out with the result that you thought, still, I got confirmation, but you still, Spirit heard you, and it might not be today that they answer it, but it might be the answer later on when we're talking about guidance. With that, I was trying to see. What's happening? April, you thinking?
There's I have two different thoughts at the same time. One is, don't anticipate the shot. When the experience is supposed to happen to you, it's supposed to happen to you. But it can also be a spirit-led experience where it's not necessarily about you, it's about somebody else in that process that needed something in that intermittence, even if it's because you kind of slowed them down, or you know what I mean, like when you accidentally bump into somebody or something like that. Sometimes these things are delicately orchestrated, and because you are such a beautiful flower of spirit and intuition, all you did was test your not test, but strengthen your connection with spirit, because you actually followed through with these actions. You know, it's okay if it's not an immediate reward situation, like you're saying. It can be led forward. I was told once that everybody always wants to have been this major, or had this major experience, or have it be all about them or something like that, you know. Like, you know, we want to be the Christ in the story, but maybe you're just one of the teachers of.
Okay.
Right? You know, like you had to put forth an ideas to support a child that needed it, and it was just the right time to get them to where they needed to go to the next stage in their learning. And so if we appreciate that we're in that flow, we start to realize that we're really instruments of the planet. We are the answers of our ancestors' prayers, and we're here to kind of bring out what flows best in terms of our lineage, in terms of our energy and who we touch. Like, I know our sweet divine sunshine, she's consistent with putting out her channeled messages and her Sankofa, what? Huh?
I try.
Jupiter 1111 is a great example. And they're just out there spreading their love and spreading their consciousness. And I know that these women also have real lives as well, and families, and they're doing it all. And you just get to do you, because it's not about mimicking or being like these people. It's just being the best you can be. And the intuitions are set for you. The messages are for you. And once you realize that you're special enough to receive this messages, special enough to actually experience this, then yes, you will realize that maybe you are following spirit and didn't get an immediate result, but you're also following spirit and it's going to lead you to even better results on something else. You can't determine what the outcome is best for you. I think the outcome that comes, it was best for that moment or best for you, if that makes sense, or best for all involved. Anyway.
Yeah, that goes back to what you're saying about that control that you said earlier about that, just trying to control the outcome. Or we come from that place of control. I want it to come up or to appear a certain way. This is how I want it to be. And, it doesn't allow spirit or guidance to be able to show up the way it wants to. And that's why a lot of times, sometimes when you ask for things for guidance, even Kathy Diaz even had said on this show where you ended with this or something better, you have to open it up to let spirit or guidance to show up, a source to show up the way it wants to. We want to always, it's got to be I want a car, I want it to be a black Corvette, or this, let's say the divine counterpart. I want to be tall, dark, and handsome, and he might come short, but and love you to death, love you to pieces, but you still looking for tall, dark, and handsome. They say, I ain't thinking about giving you a time of day. You just gotta let it kind of openly flow, show up the way that source wants you to actually do, and to be able to show up for you and to be able to gift you with whatever it is. Has it been a time that you did not follow source and you was like, oh my God, you seen like when was the time that you had not followed source? Let's just see that guidance, the guidance that you are given.
It's been plenty of times. Like okay, so she just asked, was there a time that you didn't follow source? And I said, times, right? Or else we wouldn't have learned the lesson to, well, I don't know. Sometimes you can learn stuff easy and sometimes you can learn stuff hard.
Right.
And reprogramming our connection with spirit through childhood trauma and et cetera, societal constructs, reconnecting that way and remembering our own power. It took a series of wonderful awakenings and a whole lot of really well orchestrated planning for us to be able to do that. And it took practice. It took, and there are parts that it's not that we're still discerning. It's just that we're getting better and clearer. And, I don't want to necessarily dwell on the things that shoulda, coulda, woulda. Mm-hmm. But God bless it. How we can be hard on ourselves. We can be the hardest on ourselves. And we want to blame ourselves for this whole deconstruction of a timeline that no longer exists. Or we can live in the one that we have now, learn those lessons, and create new spaces and new timelines and new projected outcomes. Right? And we're doing it together. And that's what's beautiful is you get to do this with your soul family. You get to do this with the ladies that you love, the family, the kids. We're rebuilding the community. And when you trust yourself, a little kid that is watching you, they get to learn to trust themselves as well. And then we get to, it happens faster and faster as the younger generations until we get to a point where our entire world gets a level up, our entire species gets a level up because we're able to have that type of synergy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that really where we are is this most needed, that we do learn how to trust and rely on something outside of ourselves than just really ourselves to come up with the answers. I mean, lock in and become in alignment, especially with this isolation that we're having now, is causing us to really learn how to listen to source with everything. I say, okay, confirmation again. Everything with sources, we're really learning how to tap in and learning the difference between outside the illusions, the scare, the fear factors and things, and say, okay, let me just shut it down. These are all distractions. And let me truly see about how do I get out of this situation? Okay, the job, they don't have a job anymore. How am I going to be able to feed my family? So that really causes you to really hone in skills and say, okay, listen to source and see what is the solution that I need at this time while I'm going through this. So I think also what we're going through is helping us to really hone and craft that being able to have that direct line to hear and follow source as well. Kathy D, I heard an amen earlier when we asked the question, has there been a time that you had not followed source? And you was like, yep.
Oh, there have been plenty of times. I am Capricorn, so I am very hard-headed at times, and Taurus moon doesn't help. But yeah, there have been a lot of times that I haven't paid attention or done what I was supposed to, and sources actually had to literally pick me up and move me back to the path I needed to be on.
Mhm.
Now, in the course of that, were there blessings? Yes, most definitely. There were many blessings. Um, Probably blessings that I wouldn't have gotten if I would have just followed suit, kind of thing. So, but there were some, there were some pains, there were some things, and we're seeing that right now with some of the DMs too. The ones that have been told to move and they're not moving.
Yes.
And now they're dealing with towers and things like that. So sometimes those are growing pains that we have to go through. But when it will come back around. Your blessing will come back around. Your answer will come back around. I've always been taught, God always has three answers: yes, no, or I've got something better. So, you know, we've got to be in that mindset of, and I think that goes back to that gratitude. It's so easy to see the many blessings and how source is guiding us when we do look at everything with a blessing and the gratitude to everything. So oh yeah, there have been plenty of times, even when I look at other situations, with everything, I'm going through, um, people would say, well, everybody told you not to do XYZ, but you did. And well, but if I wouldn't have received, those
Mhm.
kind of things. And so you have to be really clear on what, source, universe, God, everybody is telling you. But the one thing you've got to do is step out of that box that humanity has put us into, that our cultures, our society has put us into. We need to step out of that box. And when we step out of that box, we need to throw a stick of dynamite into it and blow the walls off that box, because that's the only way you're going to be able to receive and trust. Because if you
Mhm.
stay in that box and you're always going to be, and you were only made to be, and you weren't that smart and you weren't that pretty and you weren't that bright, the possibilities are endless. Like April touched on, we have such an abundance in our lives, in our universe, and things are supplied to us every day. And it's just like a bird and a flower, never worry about where they're going to, receive nourishment from. And we almost have to get into that. Now, I'm not suggesting going and planting yourself out in the garden, or just, say, forget paying my electric bill, no. But it does, it all flows. And when you're in flow with it, it's a dance. And we have to understand that when we dance, it's not just us. It's not a solo dance. There are other partners that come in and dance with us. And then there are other couples around us that are dancing. And it's an ongoing thing that we have to understand. So a lot of times when our prayer isn't answered per se like we wanted it to, if it was, that would kind of make it very self-centered, that everything was to revolve around us. And that's not the way it works. And ultimately, God is not a vending machine. So, we have to remember those things, and we have to show gratitude for them.
825. It ain't working. Boom. It ain't working. Boom. Ah! Give me
Now
my.
it changed my quarter. Where's my quarter? Where's my change?
So I took my money in and give me my daggone prayer. Then get my answer.
You get the answer, you just want to pretend like you didn't see it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. I don't think so.
And that's the answer. The try again, source. Just
I
try
know
again.
this, I know this woman I used to
Leave a message at the beep.
Right.
I would cater at my friend's horse ranch. Horses are super, super great, and they're used for such therapy, and they help clear the heart and mind. And I want to just go ahead and say a prayer for all of us,
Thank you.
for all of us to come into this space to be safe, grounded, and protected in love, and know that we are safe, protected, grounded. Trust. Keep breathing, grounded in. As you breathe from your crown to your third eye, just straight to your root. Breathe out. Tap your feet. Be in your body. And act with precision. Act with divine intuition and know that you are loved. Okay, come in. Okay, my dear. Yeah, I think that intuition, grounding it in, clearing the space, trusting that Spirit is here with us is going to be our ultimate way to be, is our ultimate way of loving who we are, where we are, and what we're doing. And knowing that I was taught a lesson. I have a sense of impending fear. Sometimes I get overwhelmed, I get anxiety, and it's kind of like PTSD.
Okay.
And how I worked through it is I had to learn the difference between your intuition and what's actually, the false fear, that false, and so not only was I able to kind of read the room and sense the people and all these things, this is what really helped ground in that core, that gut, that truth, that space. And when you realize that fear, that energy, that pump, when intuition is happening, because sometimes stuff happens and it's just like, is it alarming? Like, there's so much going on. Like, is it okay? Am I safe? Is it okay to have this type of trust and intuition? And it's like, yes, it is. You are just becoming very hyper aware, and know what's yours and know what somebody else's. But there's also knowing when to trust your senses and that you're in a sense of danger, right? Because they're different. They're different than being in the it's like reading and knowing the space and knowing that something isn't right and removing yourself, and also knowing and being in the space and wanting to say that you're over you, because you can sense someone's emotions or you can sense someone's feelings, that it's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you meet your twin, when you connect with someone on that level, now not necessarily you can connect with a lot of different people in a lot of different ways, especially as empaths, and the majority of us are empaths or clairaudient, clairsentient, or we all have special gifts, okay? So when you get with your twin, it kicks it into overdrive, but then it also kicks in some levels of flight or fright unless you've worked with those and what triggers you, okay? You get to differentiate between what is happening, and if it's because you're afraid of losing or afraid of not having that love and that connection, or you want to over-sacrifice or martyr yourself because you think that is what makes this person care for you, that is not a balanced viewpoint. That is not actual intuition. That's more like a reactionary fear thing.
Got you. I got you.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, so we wanna break that in. Most of us aren't in danger, but a lot of us have that sense. And so when you are in danger, trust it. And when you have your intuition, you get to trust that too, because that's also another sense. Just like you know that you're comfortable and you love and you're content. I'm so blessed because today I got to go to the beach and I was floating in the water and I was releasing and I knew that the ocean had me, and I trusted her, and I could read the waves, and I could see the sand, and I knew that the earth was holding me and allowing me to cleanse that. When you connect into this grace, it gives you a sense of peace, a sense of grace. When you connect in that sense of grace, I call that definitely the grace of God, right? You can carry that grace. And so there's that saying, by the grace of God, go I.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that's when you know you're in your intuition. That's when you know you can trust yourself and your faith. And we get to reawaken ourselves to that. We get to tell our families that it's okay to feel that way. They don't need to impress the Joneses across the street with their piles of tennis shoes, even though they are fun.
Jordans do look cute, though. I had to give it to them. They look cute, but yeah, we don't need to follow that. Now we're getting into materialism, and then also, your ego has a point of that trying to protect you too, as well. That helps with that fight and flight, feeding into that as well too, because the ego is made to protect, and so it's on to have that kind of conflict with those two kind of energies as well, as far as what your ego is telling you. No, don't do that. Don't listen to whatever source tell you, because he's gonna get us in trouble, or you're gonna be out there and they're gonna say you a fool for doing that. And you have to kind of talk that ego down and say, okay, be quiet, I heard you, but source told us to do that, and so I'm going to do that because I don't know where it's going to lead me. So you're right. Again, also that plays a part to kind of play in that. Starts with the medulla, what's the one, a reptilian brain, to get the going there too. You got other chemical things start going through for you not to be able to hear source, and you got to learn how to, like you said, through practice, learn how to shut it down so it doesn't have all that extra talking that gets you off track of really truly being able to tap into source. As you said, I got some cards. Let me see. I went to the X, and it is given cards. So I'm going to ask source, what is its advice as far as us being able to follow its guidance, source's guidance. Okay. Oh, okay. This is neat. I don't know if you can see. I have to put it this way.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Behind my every desire is my desire to feel good. Yeah, that's right.
Right. Behind my every desire is my desire to feel good. And we kind of tapped into that. I mean, how does it, and we say all in your feels, how does it feel afterwards when you really listen to source, or when you listen to ego? It's like, you get that feel like you put your finger in the daggone outlet and electrocuted yourself, then So there is no desire that anyone holds for any other reason than that they believe they will feel better in the achievement of it. Whether it is a material object, a physical state of being, a relationship, a condition, or circumstance, at the heart of every desire is the desire to feel good. So in following source, does after you've done whatever source has told you to actually do you feel good afterwards in doing so? And if so, it doesn't matter about the results of it happening. You say Spirit told me to go ahead and get that ticket with playing 154, and you didn't get the numbers, but did you feel good in the process? You follow Spirit, like you say, it tested you to see your spiritual gangster. Would you follow if I told you to do this? Would you get up and actually go buy that lottery ticket? Would you get up and actually make that phone call or that text, or do whatever to contact your divine counterpart when they told you to actually do it? And even though it didn't come out the way that you had wanted it to, but at the same time, still you listen to Spirit or whatever it is that they told you to do. Still you're rewarded by the feels that you have. So that's what I see behind that card. What did you see, April, when it said that? Behind my every desire is my desire to feel good.
I was thinking about what Kathy D, because it had popped in just as you had picked up the cards too, so it's kind of funny. And Kathy D just mentioned that Spirit is usually doing things for you or suggesting things that we're going to make you feel good.
Right.
It might make you make a diamond or make your butt pucker. You know what I mean? Just squeeze them. And like nervousness or anticipation, but it really is usually for your best good, for your better good, or to help you circumvent certain things. And things can sometimes switch on a dime.
True.
Was it Abraham was going to kill his son?
Yeah.
And then the angel came and was like,
the ram in the bush.
It was just a test. 1, 2, 1, 2. It was just a test.
Wait, stop. Oh, Jesus, my only son.
No, he was about to do it. He was about to do it.
I'm just testing your spiritual gangster. Just testing your spiritual gangster. On that one, did you have a exercise for us? I know you had prayed too, but did you have an extra meditation or something that can help us
Sure. Okay, let me take a drink of water here. If you have water, drink them if you got them.
I don't know what I did with my water. Oh, no, it's not out of here. Can you, princess? Can you get my water? No, I can't. I have no.
I'll give you kisses. Just kidding.
I know you ain't got no hands. I know.
That's so cute. Okay, so let's see here. We want intuition, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the intuition kind of for beginners and trusting that guidance for beginners. So also, I kind of want to put a little fail-safe there. If you're having real issues, ask for confirmation from Spirit. God will give you a confirmation for sure. If these are messages from God and they want you to do it, you will get confirmation. And it's kind of like a trust fall. When you, I don't know if they did it when everybody was a little kid, but they had those like parachute things, and they had the adults and they would stand around and they would have the parachutes, and then you could like lie on the parachute sometimes, and they would let you go up, or it's like being on a trampoline when other people are jumping, and you can go up and you come down.
Yeah.
If you can imagine yourself like that with the universe sometimes, and we're breathing, we're holding our breath, we're tensing our bodies. We are not allowing for that pure flow. And when we allow for the pure flow, we are gifted with the connection with Spirit, with the connection with God and grace. And it can be real frightening or shocking, but it can also be really sweet. It can also be really loving. It can also be really smooth. Choosing the aha moment versus the tower. It's really up to you, but Spirit's going to make it happen. God's going to make it happen. It's by His will it's by His will that we go. By we do what we do when we're doing in the sunshine. Yeah. Okay, so I want everyone to just take a deep breath. Center. Rock. Actually, can you pick her up? Do you put her on your lap? Do you pet her? Is that what you do?
She she's coming. Princess. I don't know, now she's walking. Then as soon as you want her, she's gone.
Like a cameo special. Tell you brought your puppy to the playground.
To the playground. I want to play with a puppy.
I bring my baby to the playground. You can bring your puppy. Show and tell.
This is my dog Princess.
She is so pretty.
She's white and she's fluffy.
She looks so soft.
Yeah. Okay.
take a deep breath and let it out with an ah. One more. Last time. And raise your shoulders up when you breathe in, like this. And then let them drop. Ah. Now your body is allowing you so much more freedom, so much more air. You should be a little bit more relaxed. Allow yourself to form a natural sway, whichever direction. It can be back and forth, it can be forward and backwards, or in a spiral motion. Feel free to give out one big at the next side just to really let it set in. Okay. I want you to close your eyes and look up towards your third eye as if it were right up there at the front of your forehead. And then I want you to kind of roll your eyes, imaginary of course, in towards the center of your brain. Keep breathing. This little focus, this little spot helps activate and fully centralize your third eye. Keep breathing and swaying as you gaze so intently. Raise your hands up and place them in front of your forehead. Anywhere is fine. Place them on the sides of your head, in front of your head, forehead. Now start to make a circle back and forth, shielding this side, knowing that this pituitary gland, or not, I'm sorry, your pineal gland is open and awake and activated and charged. And then your hands are creating a force field of protection and light and love. And it allows you to concentrate into your third eye, down your spine, down your neck, to your heart, to your solar plexus, to your sacral, to your root, your knees, and now the ground, your feet, tap your feet. Take a deep breath in and go back to your third eye and your crown. And then just follow that with the breath down the spine, through the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral, the root, the knees, the feet, tap your feet. Do the same, breathe one more time. Take a deep breath in to the third eye and crown, down to the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral, the root, the knees, the feet, tap your feet. You should feel the heat rising. You should feel your energy coming in from the earth. Go ahead and relax your gaze. Let your eyes roll back to the front of your head. Open your eyes. See the surroundings around you. Know that you are safe and protected and awake. And you have a shield around you. Tap in. Tap. Put your hand together. Tap in. Tap your feet again. Here we go. Ground in. The third eye should be super, super clear and super, super awake. And now it's in your body. Give yourself a little wiggle. I think you tightened up a little bit there because that was a lot of energy. So that is your intuition. You were, well, I know you were able to. You followed that. You felt it. We're here now. So you know when you're not following your intuition.
Yes.
You're not listening to yourself.
True.
And you also know when you can apologize to yourself for saying, oops, that was a mistake. That was from my ego. Oops, that was a mistake. That was from something I guess I hadn't learned from some kind of trauma somewhere. And that's okay, because it's all lessons so that I become better and I listen clearer and I see better. And it's going to keep, you want to do that exercise over and over again, it's going to keep clearing you. Whenever you feel cloudy, it'll help clear you, because that went like
Yes.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, great. And I think that is a great point for our place for us to stop on the playground too, as well. And you also gave us like some ending things to trust and to practice that also as you're trying to strengthen you being able to listen to the guidance of source as well. So if you want some more, where's my banners? Thank you. Some good exercises like we just seen from our own Hawaiian queen for the Golden Life Unlimited. Please go to madeforthisgoldenlife.com where you can get all that nice juicy resources for helping you with meditation, helping you to listen to source, knowing where it's housed in the body, what things are blocking you and triggering you. Please go to her as well. And then you'll also have, although she's not here, but she also, you like the resources and the ideas that she's giving you with the Jedi mind tricks, as I always say, and helping you to do your mind and understanding how you can tap into source. Go to see Kathy D at pineapplefishlifecoaching.com. And then also, if you also like me being able to intuitively use my intuition and use my listening to source to pick the cards as well for to help you out with your own readings, go to divinesouls11.co. And we also offer all of us as a package, as a program for you. You pick the topic and we'll pick the program that tailor-made for you for your needs at that moment to help you to tap into source. Go to divinesouls11.co, which has the playground experience located there. You can look at all of the different things that we offer for that package that are surrounding the things that you need as far as you elevating and getting in touch with your and being your divine self. Don't forget, I said the playground. We know this is the playground experience. You know, I'm not techy, but I'm trying. I need to hire somebody. Get Princess in here to do it.
Show dog right there.
That's what you call show dog. Here we go. So as always, if you like what we're putting out here on the playground experience, make sure to click like and share. And make sure that you subscribe to this channel. So, and also smash the bell so you can get notifications whenever we do upload these playground experience videos. All right, April Williams, sign us on out of here. Get us out the playground.
Stay blessed, stay golden.
And always with me, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste, namago. Mwah. As always. All right, until next time, to the playground.
Aloha!